We move through life as in a dream. We are so confused about what is real. We believe a fiction, we give it a reality, and an illusory world begins to set in around us. It has happened with our money, with every financial transaction that every person in this world is engaged in.
إنه عبد الغني من كازاخستان. كان على وشك إنهاء دراسته الثانوية عندما انهار الاتحاد السوفيتي، ولا زال يذكر كيف فقد الروبل الروسي قيمته في أشهر قليلة، وكيف ألقيت الأوراق النقدية في الشوارع فألصقها الناس على جدران المراحيض العامة. وبحث عبد الغني وقت ذاك عن أجوبة شافية، فدخل الجامعة لدراسة الاقتصاد معتقدا أن الرأسمالية هي نقيض الشيوعية، لكن نظرة عن قرب كشفت له عن عامل مشترك بينهما.
What is the root of our problems? It is money. Money, which has become a symbol of wealth, whose value is determined by the masters of usury. You know what is usury? In Islam, in Arabic, it's called riba.
الربا ككلمة أصبحت قليلة الاستخدام، لكنه في الواقع منتشر في كل الآفاق. نقرأ في القواميس الحديثة أن الربا هو أن تقرض المال لقاء كمية من الفائدة الزائدة، والمعنى الشائع للكلمة هو أن تقرض المال لقاء أي كمية من الفائدة. في مسرحية تاجر البندقية لويليام شكسبير، يقوم شاب باقتراض المال كي يتزوج فتاة، لكن الدائن يطلب مقابلا للدين لحم الشاب الحي إذا أخفق في تسديد المبلغ. إذا احتاج إنسان ما أو شركة أو أمة ما لاقتراض المال وتوجب عليه أن يدفع مبلغا زائدا بغض النظر عن ما أنتجه، فإن الفائدة عندها تؤخذ من اللحم والعظم. وفقا للدين الإسلامي فإن تعريف الربا يشمل معان أوسع. قال القاضي أبو بكر بن عربي الذي عاش في القرن الثاني عشر في إشبيلية: إن الربا هو أي ارتفاع غير مبرر بين القيمة المعطاة والمأخوذة للبضائع. هذا يعني أن قيمة ما نعطي يجب أن تتطابق مع ما نأخذ، لأن ثروات العالم محدودة، فإن كانت هناك زيادة فمن أين أتت؟ فالربا هو الغبن في المعاملات التجارية، إنه كسب بالإكراه والتلاعب أو الاستغلال.
Banking capitalism has departed from what is good and human. It produces an imbalance which is at the core of the deaths by hunger of millions of people. children. The poisoning of our lands, our seas, the senseless wars in our time.
وأحل الله البيع وحرم الربا.
With Uzura hath no man a house of good stone.
يقول الشاعر الأمريكي عزرا باوند: إن الربا يبعد الحرفي عن أدواته، ويجعل الخبز جافا كالورق، ويفرق بين العروس وعريسها، ويقتل الطفل في رحم أمه. إنه خطيئة منافية للطبيعة.
The masters of usury, some time ago, came and said to people, use paper money and keep your gold with me.
في الماضي كانت وسيلة التبادل مصنوعة من مواد مفيدة كالذهب والفضة وأشياء كثيرة أخرى لها قيمة حقيقية. بعدها أتى حين على الناس استخدموا فيه النقود الائتمانية التي تعتمد أساساً على الثقة بأن بضاعتك مخزونة بينما تحمل وصلاً يثبت ذلك. إن طباعة الكثير من وصولات الإيداع فسح الطريق لظهور النقد الورقي والنظام المصرفي الحديث.
They created more papers than they had gold in their vaults.
ومنذ أن قطع الرئيس نيكسون الصلة بين الذهب والدولار سنة 1971 وقع العالم تحت سيطرة نظام الفيات المالي. فيات هي كلمة لاتينية تعني ما سيكون. لا يوجد شيء في المصارف الآن، فقصاصة الورق أصبحت مالا بمرسوم حكومي. يمكن للمصارف أن تنتج نقد الفيات هذا عبر القروض، فعندما يقترض شخصا ما مالا فإنهم ببساطة ينتجون المال.
Why? Because they charge interest on every piece of paper when they lend out. So they lend out and lend out and lend out.
And then you and I and everybody watching this show has to suffer eventually when they keep printing money and debasing currencies.
Makcik, masa makcik umur 20 tahun, kalau ingat ke? Berapa masa tu rego air?
Ya.
Rego air seekor berapa?
Tanya siapa? Tanya ayah suruh kau tanya. Waria apa boleh beli halus-halus sikit tu.
When I came to Malaysia 10 years ago, I could eat very well with this 3 ringgit. Can you eat with this 3 ringgit? Not in the canteen, outside, in Kuala Lumpur, with 3 ringgit. No, you cannot.
Even here.
Even here cannot.
Yeah.
How much is the additional?
No, it's 5.
With the drink?
With drink, it's 6.50.
650. I used to eat better food than this 10 years ago for this. I used to eat tandoori chicken.
Lon ni berapa ria seekor?
Elon ni mahal.
Berapa?
Kalau boleh jual ayah daging kita 12 ringgit seekor. Kita tak beli ayah dulu, tak makan ayah. Nak makan pergi beli sayak-sayak 3 ringgit sup sayak. Hok goreng tu.
اعتاد الرومان أن يسألوا من المستفيد؟ والناس تعمل، تربح المصارف الأموال، وهؤلاء الذين ينتجون المال يتمتعون بقدرة شراء قوية قبل أن ترتفع الأسعار لتعكس نمو المال المتداول، فيحصلون على كل شيء بثمن بخس، ثم ترتفع الأسعار بعدها مع مرور الوقت، يصل المال للناس وقد تضخم، فلا يمكن الحصول به على نفس الكمية من البضائع والخدمات. يلجأ البعض إلى طلب القروض فينتج المصرف مالا جديدا يقوم بدوره في تخفيض القدرة الشرائية للعملة. تلك هي الطريقة التي ينقل بها نظام الفيات الثروة، وهكذا يتكرر الأمر مرة أخرى من أيدي الفقراء وذوي الطبقة المتوسطة إلى الحكومات والمصارف على مستوى العالم.
course, the production of money has to be regulated, has to be limited. And only money is acceptable, in fact, which represents a real value. Paper money, for instance, is not acceptable in Islamic law because it has the possibility of endless production. It creates such a power for capital that capital dominates the world, in the worst case scenario, even destroys the world.
This was designed almost 98 years ago. It was designed to fail. It was deliberately designed to fail. It was designed to go down to zero, just like our duit daun pisang, our banana money.
فرضت اليابان النقد الورقي على ماليزيا أثناء احتلالها لها خلال الحرب العالمية الثانية، وعرف حينئذ بدولار الموز.
Piti Jepun kita ambil upah ngopuk sekeping tanah. 100. Tok laku sudah balik tok laku. Orang pisah seria keping. Elok tu kita balik duk gapo.
It was designed to steal from you. Not only to steal from you through inflation, but it was designed to crash.
That's governments and central banks that do those kind of things. People don't do them. If they do, they usually go to jail. But governments can get away with it.
Our monetary policy is to achieve price stability in an environment of sustainable growth.
Don't listen to the government statistics because they lie. Nearly all governments lie about inflationary statistics.
You don't even know what is real inflation because they're fooling you with CPI, Consumer Price Index, which is way below the real inflation. So people imagine people who worked hard and put aside their hard-earned money 10 years ago. What do they find today? They find that their savings diminished 2.5 times. Is that fair, you tell me? We don't even question them anymore. We don't go and say, hey, hello. What is happening?
We have an environment where people are still savings. We have one of the highest savings rate. Savings, it accounts for something like 30% or 28% of GDP. Why do people save if their funds are being eroded so significantly?
Can central bank tell me what I can buy with this in 10 years' time? Try, ask. So they manage our money. They say, we create your money out of paper, out of nothing, but we manage it. We're responsible. We are clever. We provide you stable currency. But when they fail, and they do fail every time, they don't even apologize. Have you ever heard a central banker standing in front of the nation and apologizing?
Never.
I'm very sorry, people of Malaysia. I apologize to you because this year the inflation was 10%.
No.
Paper money is the biggest hoax in the history of mankind. And without knowing this, you will not be able to understand the dynamics of world history in the last 300 years.
بعد أن فقد أمله في الرأسمالية، لجأ عبد الغني إلى صلب تقاليده. هو يعلم أن الإسلام يرفض الربا، فظن أن المسلمين أنشأوا نموذجا اقتصاديا أكثر توازنا.
I'd like to take this opportunity to mention something about Islamic finance.
قاده البحث إلى ماليزيا، المقر الشهير لما بات يعرف بالنظام المصرفي الإسلامي.
Now, if banking by definition is usurious, what is Islamic banking?
In Malaysia, we are fortunate because most of our retail products for Islamic financial institution better in terms of monetary and in terms of spirituality.
Islamic finance, first of all, has the requirement that it must have an underlying economic activity.
There will be no interest, but maybe there will be hibah, gift from Bank Negara to Islamic Commercial Bank. So it depends. But that is how they treat the thing. Gift, yeah. Hibah. They call it in Islamic terminology as hibah. Hibah is gift. For example, I want to give you, you lend me money, not lend me money, you put a money to me, okay, for safekeeping while you are away. So what I do is that I'm utilizing your money for my investment, but I have to guarantee that your money will be saved. Because I managed to get profit from your capital, okay? So when I'm returning your money, I'm returning it with some of gift, meaning some more money. Okay, that is not interest because that cannot be obliged.
What happened? Muslim financial engineers and bankers who were trained in Western banking began to infiltrate into Islamic banking, and they began to impose the models, Western models, that they were trained with. How do you do that? Well, what you do is you try to Islamize. You take each Western transaction and then you try to Islamize. What you do is you add a transaction here, add another transaction there, make it more complicated, use Arabic names and things like that. And then, but actually these things function in very similar terms to the Western finance. As a result, the Islamic finance Islamic banking has converged with Western banking. That is a problem.
Every product that conventional banking has, Islamic banking has. There's no difference.
Excuse me, can I ask you something?
Yeah, sure.
Do you bank at Islamic or conventional?
Oh wait, what do I answer? Both.
Secondly, Islamic finance is based on profit sharing, and therefore it is risk sharing.
Do you know of any instance when an Islamic bank in Malaysia has lost money on a home loan?
Because of this product? I'm not sure.
I used mathematical payoff profiles to analyze objectively if Islamic banking is any different to conventional banking from, in simple terms, a risk and reward payoff profile. The research had proved that Islamic banking in all forms is identical to conventional banking from a risk-taking perspective as well as a reward payoff profile.
In 2007, I left after 4 years in an Islamic bank in Malaysia. 4 years is enough because Islamic banking can never be Islamic.
Assalamu alaikum. I was hoping the Muslims would have something better, maybe have forgotten, but still alive under the dust of colonial past. All I found was a poor imitation of capitalism, a clumsy Trojan horse inside Muslim lands. In the end, what they call Islamic finance is based on fiat money, and the central bank controls the whole industry. Even the word Islamic can become annoying when you hear them say Islamic mortgage, Islamic credit cards, Islamic Dow Jones. Why not Islamic whiskey? We are distracted by tiny Puritan details. We should focus on the honesty of our money, social justice, the environment.
Islamic economics is based on economics, which is the West, which treats human as a resource. You put away Islam, I don't like that. I got to change the whole thing. A great reset. It's like the computer reset button. Start all over again.
قرر عبد الغني العودة إلى بلده، لكن عندما كان يستعد لمغادرة ماليزيا قابل رجلا اسمه عمر باديو.
I remember that day very well because it marked the start of a completely different outlook for me.
Capitalism is the enemy of Islam. And what I mean by that is that the very definition of our religion is against, in war against the system.
This is where my fight began.
منذ بداية الإسلام وحتى سقوط الخلافة العثمانية في بدايات القرن العشرين، كان الدرهم والدينار النقود التي استخدمها المسلمون. كان الدينار من ذهب ويزن 4 و25 جراما، أما الدرهم الفضي فكان وزنه دون 3 جرامات. كان نجاح العملة باهرا خلال التوسع الإسلامي، واستخدم خارج أراضي المسلمين بشكل كبير. وخلال فترة الاستعمار الغربي سحبت النقود المعدنية من التداول واستبدلت بالعملة الورقية. في سنة 1985 اعتنق باديو الإسلام، وأشار إليه شيخه عبد القادر الصوفي أن يدرس ويستكشف النمط الإسلامي الاقتصادي. في سنة 1992 سك عمر باديو ومسلمي غرناطة في الجنوب الإسباني أول دينار في العصور الحديثة. في السنة التالية التقى باديو بداتو هوشام نائب حاكم كلانتان، وقررت الحكومة أن تسك النقد وتفرض استخدام الدينار والدرهم في الدولة.
When Dr. Omar Bedilu came and see us, we announced that we're going to mint dinar and dirham to overcome the world economic problems one day, inshallah.
بعد سنوات 3 قدم أبو بكر ريغر، وهو رئيس دار سك النقد الإسلامية العالمية، قدم المشروع مع نجم الدين أربكان الذي أصبح فيما بعد رئيسا للوزراء في تركيا، فأعلن أن الدينار يجب أن يكون عملة الأمة الإسلامية.
Size şimdi bir şey gösteriyorum ama bu gösterdiğim şey atom bombasından çok daha mühim.
Later on, I was informed that in the coalition conversations with Tanju Chil at that time, where in fact he formed the government, I heard that he was informed by the other side that there are two issues which cannot be discussed in Turkey. One is the membership in NATO, and the other is the Islamic dinar.
في سنة 1998 قدم باديو الدينار للشيخ المانع وزير الشؤون الإسلامية في دبي.
I was very young then, and I presented the gold dinar to him. At first, he didn't believe me. And he said, no, the emir will never give you permission. So I went to the emir, and he gave me the permission. And I got a written permission to mint the gold dinar in UAE. And then I presented it to the mufti, and he couldn't believe it. This time he was completely amazed. He said, but you can mint it now here? Yes, I can.
سنة 1999 أتى وفد الجماعة الإسلامية في إسبانيا وقدم الدينار الذهبي للحسن الثاني ملك المغرب، فعبر عن رغبته في استخدام الدينار لدفع الزكاة، وهي ضريبة الرفاه في الإسلام، لكن الملك مات في تلك السنة وأصبحت خططه طي النسيان. خلال الأزمة المالية في جنوب شرق آسيا عام 2001 التقى الدكتور مهاتير رئيس وزراء ماليزيا بالشيخ عبد القادر الصوفي وعمر باديو. دكتور مهاتير دعم فكرة أن الدينار الذهبي هو الوسيلة لتحقيق استقرار النقد والتجارة العالمية.
I still feel that something precious needs to be used as a base for money.
بيد أنه كلف المصرف المركزي بالمشروع، وفي نهاية المطاف ألغى سك النقد الذهبي والفضي الذي كان المقصد الأساسي للمشروع، وهكذا أغلق فصل من حركة الدينار الإسلامي.
I cannot ignore this battle. I cannot say, let others fight this battle. Because he made me understand that this battle, although it's against usury and injustice, and the greatest injustice of our time, it is also my personal, my very own affair to discover my own self. What is happening today, in my view, is that our lives are controlled by the financial elite. Why? Because the money in your pocket, the money you earn, you spend every day, the value of this money is not in your pocket. Its value is in that building, Central Bank, and that building, CIMB, and that building, OCBC, and that building, HSBC, Agrobank, Bank Muamalat too. So when they decide to rob you, they can do it with a click of a button, and they're doing it every day and every night. How? By creating money out of nothing. Every time they lend money out, they create money out of nothing.
That is new in history. That never happened before. That made the bank so powerful that it could not be stopped.
So the basic problem of paper money is there's nothing to stop them. Nothing at all to stop them. At least when you have something like a gold standard, there's something to stop them.
Since it was introduced, up until now, you look at the dollar, in the last 100 years, dollar lost almost 98% of its value.
The more frightening part of America is the dollar, because that is a weapon which destroys the whole human situation all over the world, and is a kind of attack now, which is of a completely other nature than attacks by an army, which follows at least some human standards. But dollar and the implication of the dollar all over the world doesn't follow any standard. It's very destructive.
تشير المعلومات التي جمعت سنة 2008 إلى أن أقل من 5% من المال في العالم موجود حقا، بينما الباقي إلكتروني، وهو إلى تزايد سريع.
The dollar has got no backing whatsoever. It's a currency belonging to a country that is basically bankrupt.
And I think eventually what will happen is the world will be made up of multiple currencies, multiple international reserve currencies.
Paper currency.
Well, currencies that are backed by the performance of different countries.
Not backed by gold?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I don't think gold is going to be the answer. I don't think returning to the gold standard will be the answer.
Because the proponents of gold and silver money, they cite two major reasons. One is stability of gold, when they say the purchasing power of gold against commodities and oil.
That is not correct. If we look at the cycle over several years, gold is equally volatile. Yes, we've seen very high prices and we've seen periods of very low prices as well.
Yeah, but if you measure a piece of gold against commodities oppositely, it shows surprising stability. I can prove it to you.
Obviously, gold has been an extremely good investment in the past 10 years, one of the best, if not the best, in that period of time. So people who have invested in gold have made a lot of money. There's little question about that.
Because of that belief that the US dollar will have a value, then other currencies which are either pegged or which relates to the US dollar appear to have some value. But of course, most of these other countries have got reserves in other currencies as well, including gold.
The amount of gold that we have in our reserves is very low. It is not a significant amount. Many years ago, we decided that we would not invest significantly in gold.
You still have some central banks, most of who missed, you know, they grew up in the 80s or 90s or whatever, saying gold is bad, gold is bad, gold is bad, when gold was doing nothing for a long period of time. And so now they missed the move.
Our reserves are invested in currencies of financial markets all over the world, including in emerging economies such as Asia.
You can depend upon gold, but you cannot depend upon currencies, because currencies tend to fluctuate in value according to various factors.
In the past, when such money was used, it was used. Gold coins were used, silver coins were used. Then the assumption is that in those days, inflation did not exist. This is wrong. It's plain wrong.
Those who say that gold and silver can be inflated, they refer to fluctuations in the prices. Of course, there is fluctuations in the prices. Every commodity has fluctuations in the prices, one against the other, for whatever reason. Nobody speaks about potato inflation.
What the governments did, they reduced the silver content or gold content, pure gold content of a coin. If you reduce it to 1 gram, from 2 grams to 1 gram, you are actually making a debasement or devaluation of about 50%. So what I'm trying to say is that reducing the pure gold content by 50%, you can increase the amount of money in circulation by 50%.
But that's not the argument against gold and silver. That's the argument against the monopoly and control of money by these governments. And in fact, the creation of paper money. So what we are saying is hands off these.
Centralized control of money is essential. Unless you have that, you cannot control the inflation and other macroeconomic forces.
There are manipulation, and there is interest in manipulating. But there is no proof that gold and silver in its proper quantities could ever be, in themselves, the subject of inflation. There is one person who undertook the great time to do the study and establish the prices of gold against the basket of commodities. And that was Professor Roy Jestram. He wrote a book called The Golden Constant. For 400 years, he examined the price of gold against this basket of commodities, and he realized the price is a constant.
Hi, can I please get the bill?
Okay. 158 ringgit.
Is it okay if I pay with dirham?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7.
1,400 years ago, at the beginning of Islam, one chicken cost 1 silver dirham, just like this coin I'm holding now. And today I can buy 1 chicken in Kuala Lumpur with this coin. What does it mean? Tell me.
Over the 1,400 years, the value doesn't change.
This is honey from Yemen, and we are buying it in dirham and we are selling it in dirham.
To bring back gold here in Malaysia, can, yes, but you will have to fight with central bank, because central bank has mandated that no payment can be made other than the ringgit.
You can buy gold and as a form of savings for investment. That is fine, but it cannot be a unit of account. There's only one currency, and that is the ringgit, and and the central bank is the sole issuer of that currency. So there can be no parallel currency operating, and that is by law.
We have to use their money. They have a monopoly. In most countries in the world, you have to use the government-dictated money. And therein lies the problem. That's why they can get away with a lot of the tricks they get away with.
The reason why there is confidence in a currency of any particular country is based on the credibility of the central bank.
And IMF says that central banks can conduct settlements between each other in any currency, in any commodity except gold. Now, to me personally, when you say that, I want to know why.
It's only been in the last 100 years or so that governments passed these laws making their money a monopoly. In theory, they can even put you in jail for using money which they have not approved. There's a guy in the States right now who apparently is going to jail who made up his own gold things.
Mr. Nothouse, who quite bravely defended the right of the American people to use their own currency and to have the freedom to choose what currency they want to use, was put in jail.
I mean, it's terrifying.
He was accused of falsifying US dollars. And he argued, if what I'm doing is illegal, then how about the Disney dollars? You know, you go to Disneyland and they issue Disney dollars with Mickey Mouse. And he said, well, if I am illegal, then they should be illegal too. Except what they are doing is just another piece of paper, while what I am giving to the people is a piece of silver.
People in the world talk about democracy. Is there real democracy when you have no choice but to accept the only medium of exchange created by the central bank?
It's basically monopoly in place of some state mints to stop any trade with real money. And we think that is illegal. It's against the rights of the people. We may even create legal cases at some point to really defend the right of the people to have their choice of money.
Legal tender gave powers to a piece of paper to be treated as if it is money. Again, that's wrong in Islam.
I don't have anything against legal tender, but you and I have to agree what we're going to use as legal tender. It should not be dictated, a monopoly on legal tender should not be dictated by bureaucrats and by politicians who are looking out for themselves. They're not looking out for you and me.
The position of Islam regarding money is that you are free to choose. Therefore, there is no preferences. There is no preference for gold or silver or anything else. There is the same validity for salt to become a means of payment as there is for gold.
The best system would be the way it was for centuries, and you and I could use whatever we wanted to. If you and I wanted to use silver, we use silver. And then, if politicians started debasing the money, you and I would know that, and instead of using silver, we would use seashells or sugar or anything we wanted to.
تجارة عن تراض منكم.
Some may like this piece of paper and that central bank somewhere promises that there is value behind this worthless piece of paper. And good luck to them. But I personally, I don't like this piece of paper. I don't want to use it. I like this shining metal, silver. I like gold because they have proven throughout history that they never lose their value.
We want gold and silver because we defend freedom. And that is not negotiable. No, but I have a currency which is better. I don't care whether you have a better currency. I choose what I want. You cannot come and tell me this is better for you, and by the way, you have no choice on the matter. This is simply not acceptable. So these are the coins. They have arrived.
Thank you.
Finally, we have brought the gold dinar and the silver dirham to Malaysia.
سنة 2010 أعادت حكومة كلنتان إطلاق النقد الإسلامي التاريخي، ودفع الحاكم نيك عزيز أول راتب حكومي بالدينار الذهبي.
First, I'd like to congratulate the people of Kelantan.
It is a small country, but it has a big mission and it has a great slogan, which is, it's the land of the dinar and dirham.
The dinar and the dirham of Islam is going to again be used in Muslim lands.
You are chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to break the ice. To break the ice of the frozen ummah of 200, 300 years. And believe me that all the ummah will follow you.
It all started here in Granada, in this very place we are here now. I remember very well those moments, and it was the beginning of an adventure. It was like a rolling, fast forward movie. From the moment we were all the way through until the gold dinar becomes the currency of all the Muslims. As if it was, you know, so you've seen it. No, and I've seen it. I've seen this movie already. We're in chapter 10.
So now we are in Cilincing, in the northern part of Jakarta. This is the fisherman village, one of the poorest area in the whole Jakarta. Now we have been distributed in this past 2 years 3,000 dirham for zakat.
هناك 5 أركان للإسلام، الزكاة هي ثالثهما، وهي الضريبة القانونية الوحيدة يدفعها الأغنياء وتعطى للفقراء والمحتاجين في المجتمع المحلي، وهي أساس التكافل الاجتماعي. ووفقا لكثير من العلماء، الزكاة هي ركن ساقط إذا لم يتم جمعها من قبل السلطة المختصة، وبدلا عن ذلك تدفع كصدقة طوعية، وغالبا ما ترسل من بلاد بعيدة عبر الحسابات المصرفية. أعلن الفقيه عليش في مصر والذي عاش في القرن ال19 أن الزكاة يجب أن تدفع من الأصول الملموسة، وعندما سئل عما إذا كان بالإمكان إخراجها من الأوراق المالية النقدية أجاب بنعم، لكن قيمتها تقاس فقط بقيمة الورق.
Ini dua biji 1 dirham, setengah dirham.
Nih, saya terima belanjanya. Besar. Berapa harganya ini 2?
في شهر أغسطس أعادت حكومة كلنتان استخدام الدينار والدرهم لدفع الزكاة.
Ini harga dia lebih kurang dua ni 50 riyal. Ada kedai-kedai tu dinar dan dirham tu boleh beli dah. Zakat ini.
I hope truly that one day we come back and we bring the gold dinar to Granada, where it all started, in the sense of bringing together with the gold dinar the din of Islam.
Islam has been only presented in Europe now as part of a problem. I mean, I just have to mention the word terrorism. Everybody linked Islam to problems, and nobody linked Islam to solution. Now, on the search for alternatives, fun enough, for the first time, the Quran and the Islamic revelation appears as part of a solution. I think, in the end, the ultimate question is, if you believe in the divine, if you believe in Allah, and you believe that the divine and Allah has a connection to the human being, and you believe that this connection was always expressed through all the religion all over the centuries by law, if you accept that connection, that there is a divine, there is Allah, and He has created the law which we have to accept, then you will find solutions. And then you will find that in the Islamic law, which is the last revelation, there are very precise answers to economic questions.
If you don't want to be a zombie, a programmed consumer, passing through life just by eating, sleeping, and watching television, if you want to be in charge of your life, your health, your wealth, start to think about what is real and what is not.